Hi, I'm Matt from vHub. And if there's one thing I've learned in the heavy duty industry, it's that there's a lot of problems still to solve. And we all want to move more freight, better utilize assets, and ultimately sell more parts. And if we're talking about solving problems, there's few people better than my very special guest, Jamie Irvine. Jamie Irvine is the host of the industry leading podcast, The Heavy Duty Parts Report, and a consultant that works with heavy duty companies to solve their sales and marketing problems. He's also a really good friend of mine. But before Jamie joins us, take a look at this. Thank you so much for joining me, Jamie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been looking forward to this one all week.
Thank you so much. This is really new for me. So I've never done this kind of webcasting stuff. And I've followed you for years and I've been so excited to see your progress and learn from you. So I'm hoping that some of the lessons you've shown will kind of show as we go through this conversation today. But the main thing I want to know is how did you get into the heavy duty industry to begin with?
Well, now I'm the host, so I'm usually the one asking the questions. So this is a little different for me too. I got to be the one answering the questions. I got into heavy duty right out of school. It was 1998, and all my contemporaries were heading off to get degrees in computer science and computer data. And it was the precursor to the big .com bubble that eventually burst. And I remember distinctly thinking that if I did what everybody I knew was doing, there was going to be a supply and demand problem on labor, meaning there was going to be so many people looking for those jobs when they got out of university. And it was going to be very, very highly competitive. It's probably going to be very difficult to find a job. And so I was thinking on that from a supply and demand perspective. And I thought, I want to go into an industry where, there's lots of opportunity and less competition. And, for another day, we'll tell the whole story, but I had some personal things happen in my life, and I didn't end up going to the university that I was accepted to. So I had to enter the workforce right away. And I was in the Vancouver area. And fortunately, I found heavy duty, or maybe heavy duty found me. And I started working for a remanufacturer that remanufactured pneumatic controls for logging, mining, and transportation equipment. And that was a great place to get started in heavy duty because I learned manufacturing. I learned systems and processes, operational things, because through the time I spent with that company, I was able to move up from shop foreman to operations manager. And then I got into the sales side. And so then eventually I was their national sales manager. And I spent the first 10 years of my career in that remanufacturing company in Vancouver. And it was a great place to be mentored and to learn and to be able to advance in my career. And it set me up for a lifetime of success, which is awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Now, here's a question I have for you. So what are the problems that you're solving for your clients today?
So, my story took a little bit of a curve. In 2009, I left the industry for a few years. I started my own business. It was a contracting business. I built it up, and then I sold it in 2016. I got back into heavy duty. And that little bit of time that I was away from the industry as an entrepreneur and as someone who was bootstrapping a company from nothing, I had to get really creative on how to acquire more customers. And so I started leveraging digital tools. I was one of the very early adopters of things like Google AdWords Express. When that stopped working, I learned how to use Google AdWords. And I built this very blue collar business very rapidly with these digital tools. And I was able to really do this just through a lot of hard work and kind of trial and error and figuring things out. I built my own website, things like that. And I learned the marketing side using digital tools. So when I came back in the heavy duty parts industry, I was almost shocked that my contemporaries had done none of that in this 7 years that I was out of the industry. And, they brought me back in as a sales account manager. I was out doing the sales thing and I knew how to do that very, very well. But I knew there was pieces to the puzzle that were missing, and I knew what was happening in other industries. And I had paid very close attention to what happened in retail with Amazon taking out massive companies like Sears. I paid very close attention to how Netflix actually disrupted Blockbuster, and it's not what most people think. Blockbuster was leveraged with debt, and they got taken down by the 2008 recession more than anything else. They didn't have cash to acquire new customers. So I was paying attention to what was happening on a macro level in these other industries. And I was looking at our industry in heavy duty, and I was going, there is a tsunami wave of disruption coming our way. And I had a decision. Do I stay down on the beach and get taken out by that tsunami wave? Or do I make a move and climb to higher ground that was more stable? And the only thing I knew how to do was to turn towards the digital tools to leverage those for success. So as I built the heavy duty parts report, my thought was, I'm going to build up this show. I'm going to serve the industry. Maybe downstream, I'll set up an e-commerce store or something like that. I'll partner with someone and we'll sell parts, and we'll use my show as the tip of the spear. And it's interesting. The marketplace said, yeah, in the future, but not now. And my guests started saying to me, because I'm interviewing manufacturers and I'm interviewing industry experts, and they're saying to me, Jamie, I don't know how you're doing this, but your show is everywhere. It's growing so fast. Can you help us with what we do? And I said, yes. And I just kept saying yes. And so really I focus on digital sales channel adoption and leveraging the digital tools to promote and market companies and to really reimagine how to deliver their value proposition. And so I work with them to get away from the age old, we've been in business a long time, we sell high quality parts, we're at competitive prices, we have many years of experience, we know what we're doing. And that old pitch has been used by everybody for decades and it no longer works. So I help companies to reimagine how they will come to the marketplace, to reimagine what they're going to say to attract new customers, but also to reimagine how they're going to do order fulfillment after they do successfully acquire a new customer. And we've spent a lot of time on both sides of that equation, because I think, you need the traffic, you need the prospects, you need the customers to come in the front door. But if you don't remove friction from the buying cycle, the buying journey that customer goes through when they do business with you, then you're leaving yourself exposed. And that is just as important. And you really can't do one without the other.
I couldn't agree with you more. When it comes to the problems that we as an industry face, they're not new problems. Is the technology that you can use to solve the problem. I remember years ago when I had my own shop, and we took our inventory for parts we were a distributor for a spotting truck manufacturer, and we put them all on Amazon. I was the first of the dealer network to put them on Amazon so people would buy them. And I sat there surprised going, why isn't anyone buying my parts? The problem was we were there too fast. We were there too soon. The buyers weren't there yet. But as time has gone on, technology has made it so the problems that people encounter are being able to be solved a little bit more efficiently. So with my platform, with vHub, the problem that we're trying to solve is asset utilization. And from my experience, companies that utilize their assets more, it often means that they have a lot more parts that they're going to use. And half the battle for parts is identifying what's the right part. So can you tell me how the heavy duty parts report is helping to help people find the right part, identify the right part when they need it?
Yeah. And one of the things that I have learned is that with the adoption of digital technology, it doesn't completely replace what we do traditionally. It's bringing the two things together to enhance, like I said, remove friction from doing business with you. When equipment is being utilized properly and is at maximum uptime, yes, you are going to go through more parts. What I've learned also in the parts industry is that the parts are the cheapest thing in that whole process, right? It's downtime and it's labor that is really the issue. And so that's one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you today and to help promote vHub, because I think that the utilization of the equipment is so important. The heavy duty parts report, really what we do is we talk about how high quality parts lower cost per mile. We talk about lowering the total cost of operation, and we try to encourage not only parts technicians and repair technicians, but especially fleet maintenance managers to take a step back and to look at the larger picture of what the implications and the economic impact is of the decisions you make when you buy parts. Because if you're going to improve the efficiency of utilization of your equipment, you have to make sure that your maintenance program is brought up to that new level of expectation. You cannot have vehicles breaking down because you decided to save $1.25 on your wheel seals, or you are trying to get your 3,600 drum price for your trailers under $50. Like, it's, if you do that, you're going to just incur much greater costs downstream. And it's one of those things. It's like, pay me today or pay me tomorrow, and if you pay me tomorrow, it's going to be a lot higher price. And so that's what we do. We bring manufacturers and heavy duty parts specialists onto the show to talk about their specific products or their industry expertise, to educate people and get them to see that larger picture. Because when you're in it day after day after day, and you've got pressure economically, it's easy to look at parts purchases as the place to cut corners. But there is so much cost associated with that strategy that goes almost invisible and just diminishes profit. And then it has this negative effect but it's actually what they call a positive feedback loop, where we're doing something that's actually accelerating the negative consequences. So we want to get that turned around. We want the positive feedback loop to be truly positive and accelerate positive results, increasing the bottom line.
Now, I've seen you talking a lot more about a diesel parts app. I've had a chance to play around with this. Can you tell me and the viewers a little bit about what the diesel parts app is looking to do, what problem it's solving for folks in the heavy duty industry?
Sure. So Diesel Laptops is the company that made the Diesel Parts app, and I'm a brand ambassador for the Diesel Parts app. And the Diesel Laptops company was actually my very first consulting client. So I've been involved in the development of this platform, and the vision that Diesel Laptops has is to be a repair efficiency company. And so yes, they sell diagnostic tools, but they realized very quickly that the diagnostic part of the equation was just the first part. Then you need to have the repair information, which they have an app called Diesel Repair, and then you need to buy the parts. So they made Diesel Parts. And Diesel Parts is a cross-reference tool, but it's more importantly a year, make, model, and engine lookup tool that doesn't require a VIN. It's one of the first in heavy duty to do this, and it will allow you on power units and any of the manufacturers who are on the platform who also have trailer parts. You'll be able to identify those common parts as well. So you can look at it from an exploded views perspective, where it's year, make, model on the power unit. But if you're looking at trailer, you'd use the component search, where you would then go, okay, I need like wheel end, and then I need wheel seal. And then you can kind of drill down from there and find the part. They also have a by measurement tool that allows you to take a good old tape measure and measure an S-cam, tells you exactly what to measure an automatic slack adjuster, measure a drum, measure an airbag. So if you don't have the part number, it's no big deal. A lot of other tools, you have to start with either the VIN or the part number. But with Diesel Parts, you just got to start with the part.
Well, first,
And even if you don't know what it is.
You buried the lead there, I think, in terms of the cross-referencing aspect of it. So running shops, getting cross-reference guides is money. You have to spend in order to know what thing works with another thing. Every manufacturer has their own flavor of parts numbering. Every aftermarket has that thing. So are you telling me that you can get a cross-reference thing as a free tool for mechanics, essentially to help drive some efficiencies?
Yeah, I mean, Diesel Parts is 100% free. You just go to parts.diesellaptops.com, or you can download it on your Apple or Android device, the app, and it's completely free to the users. I look at the cross-reference information as extremely important. But one of Diesel Parts' biggest competitors, they have a paid platform for cross-reference information, and their tagline is that that all you need is a part number. And so from our perspective, over at Diesel Parts, we just say, look, many times you don't. I remember as a parts technician getting an airbag put on my counter, and all it has is that number on the side of the bellows. Well, that doesn't help you because 30 airbags use that bellows. So that's why all the additional tools are there to identify parts. So we don't call it a cross-reference tool as much as a parts identification tool, because it gives you all of the tools necessary.
I mean, it looks like all you really need is a problem. I need to know what I need to do with this particular asset right now. Yeah. Half the battle in maintenance is knowing the labor, the standard repair time, and the part that you're going to need. So having those tools means that you're looking at making mechanics more efficient. And I know you've talked to some of my buddies like Aaron Picozzi at American Diesel Training Centers. We don't have enough mechanics. We've spent a lot of time telling people if you get into this heavy duty industry, there's not a great career for you there. And that's could not be further from the truth. And the need we have for mechanics, tens of thousands of people we need to fill these roles, and having the tools that make it more efficient is one of the better benefits of having the technologies that are out there. Now, I got to take a quick little break and thank some of our sponsors for today. Now, this is kind of a new segment we're putting in place with our webcast, and you'll see a lot of interesting sponsors over the next few episodes, but this is actually a special one. What I want to do at this moment is thank the people who have made this webcast possible. Charlotte Lewin and Laurence Belmont at our team at vHub have worked tirelessly to edit and simplify and make a great experience for our viewers. And I got to thank Denim Wedding for the entrance music. It is so exciting to get to collaborate with creative and smart people every single day. And you're going to see over the next few weeks and months some really interesting people like my guest today, Jamie Irvine, to talk about different aspects of the heavy duty industry. Now, with all that being said, it has been an interesting couple of years for you, Jamie. Tell me, how did the pandemic treat you? What did you learn in this process?
Well, we started the podcast June 1st, 2019. I was still a sales account manager, and the first 6 months, of the show, we were just trying to get it established. There was a lot of like, who are you and what do you do? And oh, well, don't you sell parts for so and so? And we had lots of those conversations. But very quickly, within 6 months, I quit my job and launched my consulting business. That kind of is the underpinning of the heavy duty parts report. And we really started to pick up some speed. And then, because we were working with diesel laptops, I went down to all the trade shows at the beginning of 2020, right? HDAW and Texas, ATD in Vegas in February. Then we were at TMC in Atlanta. And then the pandemic hit and everything was just going so great. And it just ground to an absolute halt. So the only thing we could do is be consistent and keep putting out episodes and keep working. And, and then in June, so March, April, May, it just dead. And then in June, things started to pick up again. And all of a sudden we got a new client, and the Heavy Duty Parts Report had continued to publish new episodes, and things were coming together with the work I was doing with diesel laptops. And, back then we didn't even have diesel parts. We actually had all of those tools I talked about on different websites. And so while the pandemic was at its kind of complete grinding everything to a halt, we used that time to reimagine one app that would do it all. And so we were in the process of developing the diesel parts app. So all of this started to come together. And what COVID really did is, for our industry anyway, is, remember I told you early in my story, in 2016, 2017, people just weren't interested in a lot of this digital stuff in our industry. They're just like, that's not for us. By the time we were in July, August of 2020, I couldn't keep up. I just had one company after another phoning me and saying, we need to do something, because all of a sudden, all of the traditional means by which they did business were basically grounded. And so that was just unbelievable how it accelerated the adoption of digital technology in our industry.
It goes back to the idea of consumer buying habits changing. And as long as consumer buying habits continue to change, call it the Amazon effect, call it the Uber effect, I want something now, but I don't want to have to inventory it. The value of having digital ways to reach your customers has never been more important. And I think every manufacturer that you've been working with has realized that, because at the end of the day, if you're not reaching your customer in a digital way, you're not going to sell them something. The days of a guy coming to your facility and saying, hey, what do you need to buy, is kind of going away. And being able to know what you need, when you need it, and ordering those things without having to make a bunch of phone calls is really what the trajectory seems to be going. Now, Jamie, can you tell me, how important is data?
So we were just talking about COVID-19 and the impact it had on really accelerating adoption of digital technology in our industry. And I'm very data driven. There's two things that you have to keep in mind. So there was a Pew Research study about buying behavior done just prior to COVID. And it said that most customers of complex sales want to find information about the thing they want to buy, and they want to go about 57% of the way through the buying journey before they contact sales. Now, since COVID-19 has hit, there's a McKinsey study that shows a massive acceleration of buying behavior towards using digital tools. What we find in that McKinsey study is prior to COVID-19, only 20% of B2B buyers were interested in buying something of a higher dollar amount, let's say in the tune of $50,000 per line item. Only 20% of people were comfortable using digital tools prior to the pandemic. Now, fast forward 15 or 16 months, and it's flipped. The new McKinsey study shows that 80% of B2B buyers are comfortable purchasing up to $50,000 per line item using strictly digital tools. If you are not moving in this direction, you are going to be left behind. And one day your name may be right beside Sears and Blockbuster and a whole bunch of other companies that just aren't going to survive. It's that critical. And we have to recognize what's happening in our industry. We have to recognize what's happening to our culture and our society, and how all of that comes together to impact buying behavior. And if we don't adapt, it's that old saying, adapt or die.
Absolutely. That's a great point. That's a really good point. Now, let's say I'm a manufacturer and I wanted to set up a consultation with you and your team. Tell me the process. Where do I need to go? Who do I need to reach out to?
Yeah, so the best place to find everything that we're doing is on heavydutypartsreport.com. Like I said, our clients are really guests. So right now there's a couple services pages. There's a service dropdown, but we've got a website redesign coming. So there's going to be a button right at the top that says become a guest. So the first thing is that if you are a heavy duty industry expert, if you're a manufacturer or parts distributor or any of those kinds of vocations within our industry, we'd like to talk to you. And we have opportunities for you to be on the show to promote your company. We have opportunities for you to advertise with us. And then as we get to know you, if there's an opportunity for us to consult with you, then we can do so. And if you're just interested in the consulting, just send an email to me, jamie@heavydutypartsreport.com, or just type my name in on any social platform. If you can't find me, you're not looking hard enough.
Absolutely. Well, Jamie, I can't thank you enough for making the time to come on this. This is our very first one of the webcasts that will be released. So I'm really excited to see the feedback and understand how I can improve this thing. I want to just mention a quick little call out at the end of this about vHub. At vHub, we are trying to solve problems every day to make asset sharing easier. Whether you rent, lease, or own, see how vHub can help streamline your business and drive asset utilization. Download our app or find out more at vhubapp.com. Jamie, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.